Have you ever thought that those seemingly close to us, friends, colleagues, even family members, might be hiding malicious intentions behind their familiar smiles? The truth is, in everyday life, there are dangerous individuals who stay hidden, waiting for the right moment to reveal their true nature. It's frightening to think that sometimes we might not recognize the threat right before our eyes. But don't worry, in this video, Stoic Rise Up will share with you 15 key signs to help you identify people who might pose a threat to your life, people you never suspected. Before we begin this journey of discovery, don't forget to hit the like button and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on the valuable content we share. If you find this video helpful, follow and subscribe to Stoic Rise Up so we can protect ourselves from potential dangers and raise our awareness together. Together, we will unveil the truth. Are you ready to embark on this journey of awareness? First, manipulation. Imagine walking into a situation where everything seems perfect, but gradually you start to feel like you're losing control. You're not sure why, but every decision, thought, and emotion seems to be steered by someone else. This is when you've fallen into the sights of a manipulator, someone who knows how to pull the strings from behind the scenes without you even realizing it. Manipulation isn't just petty behavior. It's a sophisticated tactic, a trap that slowly tightens around you, making you dependent. At first, it may come in the form of sweet compliments, but step by step, you find yourself caught in a web of lies and subtle control. It's crucial to understand that manipulation is not merely an annoying or bothersome behavior. It is a clear sign that you are dealing with someone who could pose a real threat. Manipulators often hide dark intentions, and they are not afraid to use deceitful tactics to achieve their goals, even if it harms you or those around you. The lies, the emotional control, and the exploitation of your trust are not random acts. They are the tools manipulators use to get what they want, regardless of the damage it may cause others. Remember that subtle manipulation can be hard to detect. It can be disguised as care or support, making you feel like you're being treated specially or that you're important. However, when you start to notice that your actions are being guided in a specific direction and you no longer have control over your decisions, that's the first sign that you're being manipulated. The first and most obvious sign of manipulation is the repeated nature of the behavior. When someone consistently tries to manipulate you, it's like a flashing red light, warning you of potential danger. They not only seek to control your emotions, but also want to dominate your thoughts and actions. This can seriously impact your mental and physical well-being, creating a stressful and oppressive environment. As the philosopher Marcus Aurelius reminded us, self-discipline and personal awareness are virtues that help us resist manipulation and stay true to our own beliefs. When you understand your own value and stand firm in your principles, you are less susceptible to negative outside influences. Awareness will serve as a shield, protecting you from cunning schemes and giving you the confidence to face any situation without being led astray or deceived. By recognizing manipulation and maintaining inner strength, you can break the invisible chains and reclaim your freedom. 2. Lack of empathy. Imagine a world where people lose the ability to feel the pain and joy of others, where every interaction becomes empty and cold. When empathy, the strongest bond that connects humans, disappears, we not only face emotional detachment, but also a clear and dangerous sign. A person who lacks empathy is not only indifferent to your emotions, but they can also inflict deep harm without hesitation. When you realize that someone is unwilling or unable to put themselves in your shoes, it is a powerful warning that they may pose a threat to both your mental and physical well-being. The absence of empathy can manifest in various forms, from indifference to the suffering of others to a complete disregard for the feelings of those around them. It's important to understand that a lack of empathy is not just a personality trait. It's a warning sign that you might be dealing with a potentially dangerous individual. After all, someone who doesn't care about your feelings won't hesitate to take actions that could harm you. People without empathy often use this absence as a weapon to manipulate, hurt, or exploit both you and those around you. This lack of sensitivity, is not only a sign of emotional detachment, but also a dangerous indicator for your mental and physical health. Always be mindful of this second sign, a lack of empathy. It is a loud warning bell, signaling the presence of someone who is not only insensitive to your feelings, but could also pose a real threat to you. Remember, empathy is essential for maintaining healthy relationships. When empathy is absent, it's a clear sign that danger is near. Always be ready to recognize and protect yourself from individuals who may cause you harm. 3. Excessive control. Control is not merely an outward behavior, but a subtle form of manipulation that seeps into every corner of a relationship, gradually eroding your ability to make decisions for yourself. When someone seeks to control you, they often start with seemingly minor things, like wanting to know where you are, what you're doing, or continuously offering advice on what you should do. Over time, this control intensifies, not only interfering with small decisions, but also affecting larger aspects of your life, such as your career, personal relationships, and even your values and beliefs. In such a situation, you may begin to feel isolated, distanced from loved ones, and stripped of your personal freedom. This doesn't just undermine your self-confidence, but also leads to prolonged anxiety and stress. Controllers often use guilt, fear, or emotional dependence to maintain their power, making you feel like you have no choice but to comply with them. Recognizing controlling behavior early is key to protecting yourself. Don't hesitate to speak up or seek help if you feel you're being controlled in an unhealthy way. Freedom and autonomy are not only the foundation of a happy life, but are also essential to maintaining balance in relationships. As Epictetus once said, "We must not allow anyone to take away that precious freedom, for it is the natural right of every human being." Be vigilant against those who try to strip this away, and don't hesitate to set boundaries to protect yourself from subtle threats. 4th, tendency to violence. The tendency toward violence is the 4th sign you cannot overlook when trying to identify someone who may pose a threat. Like a storm brewing on the horizon, violence carries with it negative emotions that can erupt at any moment, causing serious damage. However, violence is not limited to physical attacks. It can take many different forms, subtler but no less dangerous. Verbal violence is one of the most common forms, with sharp words that can deeply wound, leaving long-lasting scars on the soul. Psychological violence is another form of mental control, weakening your confidence and self-esteem, leaving you feeling lost and devalued. Recognizing violent tendencies is crucial because they are clear signs that you are facing someone who can seriously harm your mental and physical health. People who resort to violence in any form have the potential to cause long-term damage, and this should not be underestimated. Violence is not just actions that can be seen, but it can also appear in quieter but equally cruel behaviors. We often find it easy to recognize physical violence because actions like hitting, pushing, or other direct harmful acts are visible and easy to identify. However, mental or emotional violence is often harder to detect. Bitter words, mocking, or constant criticism are not just meant to hurt, but also to assert the abuser's power and control. You may feel trapped in a vicious cycle where anything you say or do is twisted to blame you, and you become the target of relentless criticism. Over time, this erodes your mental strength, leaving you feeling worthless and out of control in your own life. Psychological violence, while less visible than physical violence, can have equally severe consequences. It can destroy your confidence, blur the line between reality and the beliefs someone else forces upon you. You may not realize you're being manipulated and subjected to violence until it's too late. This doesn't only affect your mental health, but also touches every aspect of your life, from personal relationships to work and personal development. As Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, your safety and well-being must always be your top priority. No one has the right to infringe upon that or bring pain into your life. Never allow someone, through actions or words, to damage your happiness and peace of mind. Be prepared to recognize, speak out, and protect yourself from individuals with violent tendencies. Therefore, always pay attention to this 4th sign. When you sense the presence of violence, it's a loud alarm signaling that you are facing a potential danger. Don't wait until things become too severe. Early recognition and taking steps to protect yourself are essential to avoid being drawn into the whirlwind of violence. 5. Constant lies. Lies, like small cracks in the sturdy wall of trust, are the fifth sign you must not overlook when trying to identify a dangerous person. Just as a spider weaves a web skillfully to conceal the truth, lies trap you in a whirlwind of confusion and doubt. Each lie isn't just an isolated act of deception, but over time, they erode the foundation of trust, turning belief into suspicion. And from suspicion, relationships become fragile and prone to collapse. As the Roman philosopher Seneca once asserted, honesty is a fundamental virtue for maintaining strong and healthy relationships. When someone lies frequently, it's as if they are destroying the foundation of any relationship. Every lie is a step away from sincerity, making it harder for you to discern what is real. This is especially dangerous because liars often use deception not only to hide the truth, but also to manipulate and control you. Lies can take many forms, from small fibs that slightly distort the truth, to elaborate stories carefully constructed to completely hide reality. Dangerous individuals often use lies as a tool, not just to manipulate, but to exploit you or create an illusion of an alternate reality. This can leave you feeling disoriented, unsure of what's real and what's false. Over time, you may unknowingly become dependent on these lies, unaware that you are being exploited. Recognizing repeated lies is crucial. Continuous deceit is not just a sign of insincerity, but a clear warning of potential danger. Liars will not hesitate to use fabricated stories to achieve their goals, even if it means causing you harm. Lies are like a glaring red flag, signaling that you are dealing with someone who could endanger both your mental and physical well-being. It's essential to know how to identify these lies and protect yourself. When you realize someone has a tendency to lie frequently, it is a clear indication that they are untrustworthy and may be harboring harmful intentions. Don't let these lies cloud your judgment. Stay vigilant and question things when they don't seem right. Detecting and confronting lies not only helps you safeguard your integrity, but also helps you preserve your freedom and independence. 6th, absence of healthy boundaries. Imagine an infinite ocean where waves can rise without restriction, creating an alluring image of freedom. However, when it comes to relationships, the absence of healthy boundaries is the 6th sign we cannot ignore when identifying a dangerous person. Healthy boundaries are like protective fences guarding your emotional and physical space, playing a vital role in maintaining balanced and safe relationships. When someone doesn't respect or fails to establish necessary boundaries, you become vulnerable, as if your protective barriers have been torn down, leaving you exposed to violations and abuse. The lack of healthy boundaries can manifest in many ways. It may involve others invading your personal space, interfering in your private life without permission, or even disregarding your emotions and needs. When this happens, it not only creates an imbalance in the relationship, but also leaves you feeling undervalued. Dangerous individuals often exploit the absence of boundaries as a tool to control and manipulate others, irrationally taking over their mental and physical space. As philosopher Epictetus taught, the lack of healthy boundaries can lead to toxic and abusive relationships. People who don't respect others' limits frequently try to push past them to serve their own interests. They may make you feel like you don't have the right to express your needs or control your own life. This leads to increasing dependency and a gradual loss of autonomy in all aspects of your life. Even more concerning, such individuals don't stop at invading your personal space. They also try to bend your emotional boundaries, making you feel undeserving of respect. When someone disregards your boundaries, they can easily manipulate your thoughts and emotions, creating an environment filled with pressure and stress. You may feel compelled to endure behaviors that, under normal circumstances, you would never accept. This is a clear sign that the balance has been disrupted, and action must be taken to protect yourself. Be ready to recognize this 6th sign. The absence of healthy boundaries isn't just a red flag. It's a loud warning that you may be caught in a toxic relationship. Don't hesitate to set and defend your boundaries. People who don't respect your boundaries do not deserve a place in your life. Remember, protecting your emotional and physical space is crucial for safeguarding yourself against dangerous and toxic individuals. 7. History of problematic relationships. Imagine being able to look into someone's past and see a trail of relationships filled with conflict and chaos. This is like a blaring alarm that cannot be ignored, the seventh sign that you may be dealing with a dangerous person in your life. A history of problematic relationships reflects their behavior, a clear indicator of tendencies likely to emerge in the future. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, our past can be a predictor of what is to come. If someone has experienced a series of chaotic relationships marked by conflict, abuse, or explosive breakups, it is a signal of deeper issues in their character and the way they handle relationships. Healthy relationships are always built on three fundamental pillars: respect, empathy, and effective communication. When someone has a long history of problematic relationships, it suggests that these essential qualities may be missing or entirely absent from their behavior. This is a sign that they struggle to maintain stable relationships and often repeat harmful patterns, causing damage to themselves and others. Be cautious of this sign. A past filled with bad relationships is not just a coincidence. It could be a warning of underlying issues. These issues may include controlling tendencies, abusive behavior, or an inability to handle conflict in a healthy way. Such people often blame others or circumstances for their problems, never taking responsibility for their actions. Because of this, they tend to repeat destructive cycles, never learning from their mistakes. Looking into someone's relationship history not only helps you understand their behavior, but also allows you to identify potential risks to your emotional and physical well-being. A person with a long string of tumultuous and failed relationships doesn't just affect themselves, they can also drag you into a cycle of harm. They may lack the ability to maintain healthy relationships due to missing basic skills like communication, empathy, and conflict resolution. Their past relationships serve as milestones marking the path they tend to follow. And if that path is filled with issues and conflict, you should be wary. This is not only a sign of past behavior, but also an indicator of what may happen in the future. People with troubled relationship histories often carry those negative behaviors and emotions into new relationships, repeating the same mistakes. By recognizing these problems early, you can avoid unnecessary suffering and protect yourself from potential dangers. As Seneca taught, the quality of your relationships is directly tied to your emotional and physical safety. Someone with a history of unstable relationships can bring chaos and harm into your life. Always be alert to these signs, as they are like lights illuminating the road ahead, warning you of potential issues. Don't hesitate to protect yourself and distance yourself from individuals who may repeat negative patterns in relationships. 8. Exaggerated reactions. Overreacting to criticism is akin to emotional earthquakes, where minor critiques can escalate into catastrophic disasters. These outbursts may range from intense anger to subtle retaliations and manipulations aimed at regaining control of the situation. The root of such reactions often stems from an inability to handle criticism in a healthy and constructive way, revealing deep insecurity and a lack of self-confidence. Dangerous individuals often perceive any criticism as a threat to their ego and identity, leading them to overreact. As philosopher Epictetus once said, the ability to accept criticism maturely is a sign of emotional growth and self-awareness. When a person cannot face criticism, it is as if they are trapped in a constant cycle of denial and over-defensiveness. These extreme reactions are not only a sign of emotional immaturity, but also point to deeper issues within the individual. Someone who cannot accept feedback from others tends to create a tense environment where even mild criticism can ignite heated arguments. This behavior not only exhausts those around them, but also makes you feel as though you are constantly walking on eggshells, afraid that any comment might trigger another conflict. The inability to accept criticism is often accompanied by subtle revenge tactics or emotional manipulation. Such a person may use their anger to make you feel guilty or to manipulate the situation. You may find yourself apologizing for things you didn't even do just to maintain peace in the relationship. This creates a toxic atmosphere where open communication and understanding are replaced by fear and restraint. Be mindful of this sign. Overreacting to criticism is a clear indication that you are dealing with someone who cannot control their emotions and lacks stability in relationships. This can lead to dangerous situations, both mentally and physically, as the person constantly seeks revenge or manipulates others to protect their fragile ego. As Epictetus taught, the ability to accept criticism is a marker of self-awareness and emotional maturity. Those who cannot handle it are often trapped in a cycle of self-defense, not only refusing to face the truth, but also harming those around them. Be ready to recognize these signs and protect yourself from individuals who tend to explode in the face of criticism. 9. Lack of authenticity. Lack of honesty is a crucial sign we cannot overlook when trying to identify a person who may pose a danger. When someone consistently presents a false version of themselves or pretends to be someone they're not, it becomes nearly impossible to trust them. Honesty is the foundation of human relationships, as it builds trust and fosters genuine connections. Without honesty, a relationship is like a building constructed on sand, ready to collapse at the slightest disturbance. This sign acts as a warning light, clearly indicating a lack of sincerity in the relationship. Dishonesty can manifest in various forms, from deception and hypocrisy to emotional manipulation. A person who doesn't reveal their true self will make it difficult for you to understand their real intentions. They may say one thing and do another, or attempt to craft a perfect image to win your support or trust, while their true nature is entirely different. This leaves you in a state of confusion, unable to distinguish between what is real and what is fake. Deception not only erodes trust, but also forces you to constantly question and doubt everything that person says or does. Honesty is a core value in Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes integrity and transparency. As the philosopher Epictetus once said, "First, make a promise to yourself that you will not be a hypocrite, that you will live sincerely with yourself and others." When we maintain honesty, we not only demonstrate truthfulness, but also create inner peace. Living dishonestly breeds inner conflict and tension, making relationships more complex and fragile. On the other hand, living truthfully helps us avoid unnecessary conflicts and brings a sense of calm within. In relationships, recognizing dishonesty is vital. When someone doesn't reveal their true nature, you can never fully understand their intentions, and this makes the relationship feel insincere. Such a lack of honesty can severely damage trust and create invisible barriers in communication. A deceitful person not only harms others but also traps themselves in a cycle of insecurity and inner turmoil. Honesty is not just a sign of integrity, it is also the path to inner peace. When you live authentically, there is no need to hide or pretend, and this helps you avoid the stress and inner conflicts that come with deception. In interactions with others, recognizing the absence of honesty not only helps protect trust, but also alerts you to those who may cause harm. 10. Constant isolation. Prolonged isolation is a concerning sign when you're trying to identify someone who may pose a threat to your life. This behavior involves deliberately avoiding or restricting connections with friends, family, and social relationships. Sometimes others may control and prevent you from maintaining close relationships, or they may isolate themselves from those around them. When someone intentionally cuts you off from your loved ones, it may be a manifestation of emotional manipulation or excessive control. This isolation not only disrupts the balance in your life, but also makes you increasingly dependent on the person causing it. Isolation not only deprives you of valuable social relationships, but can also lead to severe emotional consequences. Losing connection with family and friends can weaken your natural support system, which negatively impacts your mental and physical health. You may find yourself relying more on the person who isolates you, losing your ability to make independent decisions and control your own life. From the Stoic philosophical perspective, isolation is a rejection of the interconnectedness of humanity. The Stoics emphasized the vital role of community and social relationships in the development of wisdom and virtue. They believe that human life is enriched by learning and growing from the bonds we share with others. Isolating oneself or others contradicts this philosophy, as it weakens the connections between people and hinders the pursuit of sincerity and wisdom in relationships. Rather than isolation, Stoic philosophy encourages individuals to learn from the community, building relationships based on virtue and mutual respect. It is through interactions with others that we find meaning, learn important lessons, and grow as individuals. Social connections not only offer support, but also help each person advance in life's journey, creating balance and inner peace. 11th, constant victimization. When someone continually portrays themselves as a victim, seeking sympathy or attention through tragic stories or challenging situations, this may be a manipulation tactic. It's important to pay attention to how often they use the victim role to get what they want. Constantly playing the victim can take many forms, such as telling exaggerated stories about personal hardships, blowing situations out of proportion to elicit sympathy, or pretending to be a victim even when the circumstances don't genuinely justify it. This manipulation tactic is often employed to gain emotional support, receive special treatment, or even avoid taking responsibility for their own actions. From the perspective of Stoic philosophy, constantly portraying oneself as a victim contradicts a key principle of taking responsibility for one's own life and actions. Stoic philosophers emphasize the importance of living virtuously and becoming the master of one's fate. Continuously playing the victim is not only a way to avoid responsibility, but also a means of seeking indulgence from others, rather than facing the truth and owning up to one's circumstances. If you notice someone frequently using this tactic, it's essential to be cautious and evaluate whether they are truly going through difficult situations or if they are trying to manipulate your emotions. This doesn't mean you should be indifferent or unsympathetic to someone's genuine struggles, but you must be alert to differentiate between legitimate situations and manipulative behavior. Recognizing this distinction will help you avoid being drawn into unhealthy situations while maintaining fairness and objectivity in your relationships. When someone uses the victim role as a strategy to evade responsibility and manipulate others, they not only disrupt the relationship but also create a cycle of emotional dependency and deceit. Their constant portrayal of themselves as a victim may make you feel obligated to help, even though their behavior is ultimately self-serving. This is why it's crucial to pay attention to how frequently and in what ways they use the victim role in their life. Stoic philosophy teaches us that, instead of seeking pity from others, individuals should focus on living responsibly, courageously facing challenges, and finding solutions from within. Taking responsibility for one's actions and fate is not only the path to living virtuously, but also a way to achieve inner freedom, free from dependence on others' sympathy or assistance. 12. Lack of responsibility. The inability or refusal of a person to take responsibility for their actions is a critical sign when you need to identify someone who may pose a danger. This behavior can manifest in various ways and is often tied to dishonesty and a lack of personal accountability. When someone refuses to take responsibility, they frequently blame others or external circumstances whenever they make a mistake, rarely admitting their own faults or trying to correct what they've caused. This lack of responsibility doesn't just create frustration, but also fosters instability in relationships around them. People who consistently avoid taking responsibility tend to create a tense environment where blame shifting and avoidance replace facing issues head-on and solving problems. This not only makes the relationship toxic, but also leaves others feeling hurt or taken advantage of, as they often bear the consequences of actions they didn't cause. The consequences of this behavior can be severe. Others may feel manipulated or exploited by the constant refusal to acknowledge fault. The refusal to take responsibility also stifles positive change because the person causing the issue fails to recognize their need for improvement. This affects not only personal relationships, but also work environments, families, and society as a whole. Identifying this behavior early can help you avoid greater harm in the future. An irresponsible person not only makes life more difficult for those around them, but also creates an atmosphere of stress and disappointment. It's crucial to remain clear-headed and prepared to set boundaries with individuals who refuse to take responsibility in order to protect both your mental and physical well-being. 13. Disdain for others. When someone continuously expresses contempt or displays a condescending attitude toward those around them, It is a clear sign of disrespect and a disregard for the feelings and dignity of others. This behavior not only damages personal relationships but also creates a toxic atmosphere that negatively affects the overall environment. Persistent contempt can manifest in various ways, such as insulting remarks, relentless mockery, destructive criticism, or a patronizing, superior attitude toward others. Such actions don't just undermine the self-esteem and confidence of those who are the targets of contempt, but they also foster a hostile environment where no one feels valued or respected. Instead of fostering understanding and empathy, contempt and disdain strain relationships and lead to breakdowns. The consistent display of these attitudes can make those around the individual feel devalued, unworthy, and unwilling to engage in or maintain healthy connections. Beyond the emotional harm, contempt can lead to long-term psychological and mental health issues. People who frequently endure contempt may develop feelings of low self-worth, insecurity, and difficulty in trusting their own value. They may withdraw from social environments, feel powerless in the face of injustice, and lose motivation to sustain other relationships. In a broader context, contempt doesn't just hurt individuals, it erodes harmony and community spirit. Everyone in that environment, whether in a workplace, family, or group of friends, feels the pressure and hostility that spreads, creating a space where no one wants to engage or connect. This not only affects individuals, but also lowers productivity, cooperation, and the overall morale of the group. 14. Lack of fulfillment of promises and commitments. When someone frequently makes promises or commits to fulfilling certain responsibilities but continuously fails to follow through, it can erode trust and credibility in that person. This lack of integrity and unreliability can have serious negative effects on both personal and professional relationships, leading to feelings of disappointment, frustration, and even resentment from those who have trusted and depended on them to keep their word. Constantly breaking promises not only causes emotional harm, but also creates an atmosphere of uncertainty and mistrust, making it incredibly difficult to maintain a healthy and stable relationship. It's important to recognize that everyone can make mistakes or encounter unforeseen circumstances that prevent them from fulfilling a promise or responsibility. However, when failing to keep promises becomes a repeated pattern without legitimate reasons, it is a clear sign that you may be dealing with someone who does not value the importance of their word and the trust that comes with it. Failing to honor commitments is not just a matter of integrity. It can also negatively impact your personal well-being and sense of security. When someone doesn't keep their promises, you begin to lose the ability to rely on them, and the trust within the relationship starts to break down. This can lead to prolonged tension, create negative emotions, and damage the connection between you and the person. Over time, the inability to keep promises not only affects trust but also leads you to question the value of the relationship and each person's contribution to maintaining it. Moreover, the consequences of repeated broken promises extend beyond personal disappointment. In professional relationships, this behavior can weaken collaboration and teamwork, affecting overall work outcomes and potentially lowering the performance of the entire team. Unreliability in the workplace can diminish morale and trust among colleagues, creating significant barriers to achieving common goals. Therefore, evaluating whether someone consistently keeps their promises is a key measure of their reliability and integrity. If you notice that a person repeatedly fails to fulfill the commitments they make, it may be a warning sign of their lack of respect for the relationship and the long-term stability it requires. 15. Vengeful behavior. When someone has a history of seeking revenge or reacting strongly when they feel hurt or opposed, it can indicate a lack of healthy conflict management skills and an inability to resolve problems constructively. Revengeful behavior can manifest in various forms, from directly harming the person they view as the source of conflict to spreading rumors, damaging reputations, or even using legal means with malicious intent. These actions not only prolong the cycle of conflict, but can also lead to serious consequences for everyone involved. Revengeful actions reflect an inability to handle negative emotions in a mature and constructive manner. Instead of seeking peaceful and cooperative solutions, The person chooses to retaliate, often to satisfy their ego or to cause harm. This not only creates a toxic environment in relationships, but also puts your mental and emotional well-being at risk. In some cases, it may even threaten your physical safety. When you recognize that someone has a tendency to act out of revenge, it is a troubling sign about their ability to handle conflict reasonably. The habit of responding with retaliation not only adds tension to the relationship, but also threatens to destroy healthy connections, leaving you feeling insecure and anxious about the future of the relationship. Moreover, consistent revengeful behavior can harm not only you but also those around you, such as family, friends, or colleagues. The inability to resolve conflicts peacefully leads to a hostile environment where safety and trust are compromised. This can result in prolonged emotional and mental stress, leaving you emotionally drained and overwhelmed. In more severe cases, revengeful actions can escalate into physically dangerous situations, posing a direct threat to your safety. Recognizing these patterns early can help protect you from the emotional, psychological, and physical risks associated with someone who consistently resorts to revenge as a way of managing conflict. As we conclude this journey of exploring the 15 signs to identify a dangerous person in your life, it's essential to emphasize the importance of recognizing these signs and taking proactive steps to distance yourself from individuals who may cause harm. Your emotional and physical safety are invaluable, deserving of protection. By identifying these signs, you have taken a brave step toward building healthier and more positive relationships. Always remember that your peace of mind is priceless, and there is nothing wrong with choosing to walk away from those who may threaten your safety and happiness. Trust your instincts. Often, our sixth sense warns us when something isn't right. If you feel uneasy, listen to that feeling and take appropriate action. Don't hesitate to seek out healthier relationships, because you deserve to be valued in relationships built on respect, trust, and empathy. Don't settle for anything less. I look forward to hearing your success stories. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a comment below. Share your journey, your victories, and even the challenges you've faced. If you're unsure what to comment, simply write, "I choose my destiny," to show that you've completed this lesson. Your interaction is what fuels this community to grow further, aiming toward wisdom and, most importantly, mastering the art of turning every challenge into an opportunity.